All right, we're going to talk about something a little bit different here. I wanted to give you guys 5 under the radar, or I guess emerging role players that I have noticed this year and want to bring attention to on this channel. I've been wanting to do this for a minute now. There's obviously all kinds of different roles in the NBA. You know, you got the stars, the elite defenders, all that good stuff. Then there's the glue guys and just multiple roles across the board for every team. But I wanted to highlight a few players that have gone under the radar, started getting into the rotation and, making an impact for teams, whether it be they made the rotation via injury to somebody else, or the coach just decided to insert him into the rotation and has had a very noticeable impact. So I wanted to name 5 of them, and this is not in any particular order or any ranking of who's better. I just wanted to highlight 5 guys, and however I list them, I listed them. So let's get right to it. First player on my list is Sam Merrill of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, Sam Merrill is somebody who just started playing a lot more. They actually, since December 8th, he's been in the rotation pretty consistently, and he has one role on this team, and that is to shoot the absolute hell out of the basketball. Now, what I've noticed about Sam Merrill is that his movements in terms of how he runs off screens and gets square to the basket to launch threes kind of reminds me of Max Strus a little bit, which makes sense because they're teammates, obviously. I imagine Sam Merrill is probably always working with him in practice or something like that, but he moves just like Max Strus, and he is just an absolute knockdown three-point shooter. And I'm going to list you some stats from over the last 14 games where he has played more. He has averaged 20 minutes a game since December 8th, and he is shooting 7.5 threes per game in 20 minutes. 7.5 threes in 20 minutes, and he is shooting 43% from the field. On the season, he's shooting 42%. His per 36 three-point attempts are absolutely outrageous. Per 36, he's averaging 12.6 three-point attempts per game, and his role is just come off the bench. We're going to run a bunch of screens and pin downs for you, and your role is to just shoot. And he shoots in tight spaces. He is really good at getting square and getting his body square to the basket and just launching from three. He's even had some really deep threes where it's like, oh shit, you're kind of really confident pulling up from there, and then he just swishes it. Sam Merrill has been really good for the Cavaliers this year, who are, by the way, 11-3 since Darius Garland went down with the jaw injury, and that obviously includes the fact that Evan Mobley has been gone for much longer than that. So the Cavs are 11-3 without Mobley and Garland, and they have had to insert new players into the rotation. Donovan Mitchell's been playing great. Jared Allen's been playing fantastic. And guys like Sam Merrill are coming off of the bench and just providing an injection of energy offensively and just some sets the Cavs can run because they can leverage his shooting gravity. Number 2 on my list is Jontay Porter of the Toronto Raptors. Now, Jontay Porter has just started playing in the rotation, but the Raptors have started him the last few games just because of the injury to Jakob Poeltl. Thaddeus Young wasn't really cutting it as, the starting center. But Jontay Porter only averaging 5 points, 2.5 assists, and 4 rebounds a game. But if you just watch how they play and how much the Raptors are using him for dribble handoffs or running stuff through him at the elbow, he's a snappy passer, a snappy decision maker. He is, at least positionally, he knows where to be defensively. But the Raptors have used him in a bunch of different ways, and he's only shooting 30% from 3 this year, but it's clear the coaches on Toronto are encouraging Jontay Porter to shoot more. He fights on the glass. He's not, one of the big role players in the NBA, but just somebody that I had noticed the last, few weeks or this month, basically. Obviously, he's Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, and he has just had some bad injury luck throughout his career, and I'm glad he is finally at least getting some consistent playing time. He's averaging 16 minutes a game, but the one thing that does stick out is that they use him as a handoff hub. Whenever he gets into the lane, he's able to kick it out to the wings. He's really good at kicking it out to the wings and making snappy decisions. So I wanted to give a shout out to Jonte Porter there. Next on the list, Vince Williams of the Memphis Grizzlies. And Vince Williams, obviously, he has been starting with all of the injuries to Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, and with everybody injured now, John Morant's out for the season. You still got Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously. But this is just an opportunity for guys like Gigi Jackson, David Roddy, and Vince Williams to, get playing time and playing reps. Vince Williams on the season is averaging 7 points a game, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. He's shooting 35% from 3, so there's some solid shooting potential there. But they've been utilizing Vince Williams more to initiate offense. He is a very solid defender. I like his solid defensive potential there. He plays hard. He's very good at crashing the offensive glass from the corners, which, is where he shoots most of his threes, or half of his threes at least. I mentioned his passing earlier. He's very good at being that connective passer. He's not somebody you run offense through to play make, but he's going to make the right decision when he gets the ball in his hands. He's a very quick decision maker. It's usually 1-2 dribbles, decision, whether I'm going to shoot or pass. Of course, he's part of the lefty gang, so I have to acknowledge my lefties here. And he's just somebody that I think is going to be a very good role player. I believe last week he just agreed to a 3-year, $7.9 million contract, and that's going to be a steal in the long run because I actually like his upside. I like his athleticism. He's 6'4", plays hard, can shoot a little bit, crashes the glass, can be a cutter. There's a lot to like there with Vince Williams, and with the Grizzlies' core 4 locked into place, assuming they keep Marcus Smart for the next few years, you need players like that in your team building process, and Vince Williams, I think, is going to be a steal in a few seasons. Number 4 is one of the oldest rookies in the NBA at 27 years old, going to be 28, is Duop Reith of the Portland Trail Blazers. I have really liked what I have seen from Duop Reith. I mentioned in a previous video that it just seems like the last few weeks the Blazers are in a lot of competitive games that go down to the wire, but the person that sticks out to me is Duop Reith. 6'11", 245, averaging 9 points a game, 4 rebounds a game, shooting 36.7% from 3. But the last 20 games, his minutes have up to 20.5 minutes a game. He's shooting 38.7% from 3 on nearly 4 attempts per game. And the thing that sticks out to me about Duop Reith is just how mobile he is and how competent he is attacking closeouts. Like, his handle is very functional, but also he is a really good screener. Like Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, they get off really good looks when they involve Duop Reith in screening actions or dribble handoffs that turn into a screen. And he's very mobile and very nimble for his size. I can definitely see some switching potential with Duop Reith, just running switching schemes. And if you leave him out on an island with a wing or a quick guard, I think, in the long run, coaches would be fine with leaving him out there to check a guard for a second. But I like the skill set he brings for the Blazers because the Blazers, obviously, between Simons, Scoot Henderson, and Shaedon Sharpe, who is currently injured right now, that's the type of skill set you want to bring for those kind of guards. Get them off handoffs, get them downhill quickly, give Simons space to get his pull-up 3 off. I really like Duop Reith. The Blazers got a nice find there and definitely has some upside there to be one of the best role players in the league. And then the last one I wanted to highlight is Simone Fontecchio of the Utah Jazz, somebody who is a big shooter. Sort of gives me some Duncan Robinson-y vibes. Not exactly like him, but just the high release, his shooting off movement. He really likes those corners also. I really like his high release. And also, in the vein of Duncan Robinson, he's actually not, a sieve defensively. He's pretty solid at the wing position, and really the Jazz need that from him. He's become an important player because, it's mostly guards in the rotation between Colin Sexton, Chris Dunn, Jordan Clarkson, Keontae George, obviously, even Talen Horton-Tucker, Ochai Obachi, and so on and so on. Fontecchio is like the big, sizable, functional wing on that roster, and he's not a lockdown defender, but he's definitely solid. He's big, doesn't get moved around a lot. just in terms of his shooting, the Jazz have obviously weaponized that. The Jazz are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now, even though they just lost to Oklahoma City at home. But they're one game over 500, squarely back in the play-in race, only 2.5 games back of the 6th seed. And the big reason for that is, one, Lauri Markkanen is obviously back healthy. The Jazz are very good in terms of offensive rating and defensive rating in that stretch. And Fontecchio, since he got inserted into the starting lineup back in November, has shot 38% from 3 on nearly 5.5 attempts per game. Solid rebounder for his size as well. The Jazz found a very good role player to help facilitate the offense. Somebody who really doesn't need the ball a lot, and the Jazz can run plays with him, leveraging his shooting. So those are 5 players I wanted to highlight for a minute. If you guys happen to catch these players in their respective teams on any given night on League Pass, you can definitely see the little tiny details and impact they have when they play in the game. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and we will see you next time.